And antivirus evasion is another security topic that seems like it's pretty simple on the surface, but contains a lot of complexity in how people actually carry this out and how it's evolved over the years. And I'm sure that most of you are familiar with antiviruses. They're the software packages that we install on different kinds of computers, and nowadays even phones and other mobile devices. And the antivirus packages are there to stop any kind of malware, trojans, viruses from being put on our systems and doing things that we don't want them to do, or damaging our data, or making files unrecoverable, making our systems inoperable. And the way that this works is that antivirus software will scan files, especially it'll focus on some of the binary files like executables and the files used by executables. And when I mean executables, I am talking about the applications. So usually that's where the focus of antiviruses is, on things that can run code by themselves, not on things like data files like images or text files. And the way that they scan these files usually is that they'll look for certain bits and bytes inside the files, and those are the ones that in certain patterns will tell them whether this is part of an exploit or an attack, whether that's a malicious file or it contains a section of malicious code. And that's because usually the way that a virus is downloaded is it's actually a user themselves who can download a program from the internet or from some kind of storage media, and they'll think it's one thing, and then they'll click to install it, they'll run some commands, and then turns out that it actually contains some unexpected code that is doing something malicious. And that's why with the binary files, antiviruses look for patterns. Essentially, they do very complex pattern matching. And that's where the antivirus evasion attack comes in, is that because those particular antivirus systems are looking for specific signatures, and they're looking for essentially fingerprints of viruses and known exploits in the binary data, or even sometimes in the normal data files like our images and music and video files and so on. And the difference being that since those files are not executed directly, they're not really running their own code. They're not running binary code, and they're not running as binary code on the operating system directly. So they're usually isolated from doing anything particularly malicious unless somebody's figured out a really clever exploit. So that's why a lot of times those data files are not the focus. We're looking at the executable files. And that's why changing the signature of the file, like an executable file especially, for an attacker is a very, very lucrative goal. Because if they can figure out how to change the signature of a known exploit, or create a new exploit with a new signature that is hard to detect, then what's going to happen is common antiviruses will fail to detect it. And the user, of course, will feel like they are confident, they have installed their software, their antivirus said everything's okay, so whatever it is that they installed and downloaded and are running is good to go. But unbeknownst to them, since the signature was not detected, that's why there is a virus that's running and doing something unexpected on their system and probably compromising their data. And the way that this is done is through a few different methods, and most of them involve some combination of obfuscation, which of course means just disguising code, disguising character, making something look like something else through clever tricks of shifting bits and kind of changing the order in which things are evaluated, so that something is kind of put together from different bits of a larger program into a exploit, but without really being in the pattern that can be detectable by an antivirus or a similar system. And then there's compression, where you just take something that the antivirus is looking for and just make it look differently through compressing it into a different format, and the antivirus might not be looking for the compressed version of it. And there's encoding, which is similar to compression, where you're just changing the representation of the string of characters that comprise the exploit or the virus. And all of these things essentially come down to making part of your file look different than what somebody is looking for. It's like wearing a disguise, it's like getting past the security checkpoint wearing a disguise when the guards have your photo in their booth. They're expecting somebody, suppose, with a beard and glasses, but you took off your glasses and you shaved off your beard, and now they don't know how to find you. That's kind of what's going on here.